The following presentation has been made possible by grants from Big Wheel, with home offices and 2 discount department stores located in Lawrence County. First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania, serving Lawrence County since 1855. The law firm of Mansell and Jamison, with its offices in Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
For the Westminster Titans at the 33-yard line, Osborne lines up to the right, Foley to the left, DiGratola and Mike Ames in the T formation, Joe McKeah the quarterback, Jeff Hahn lines up on the left side, this is it. McKeah, straight drop, going into the end zone for Foley, it's up, touchdown Westminster! The Titans have won it! 7 seconds remaining! The Westminster Titans are the national champions!
That day was December 10th, 1988. The football season was already 14 weeks old when the University of Wisconsin at La Crosse came to New Wilmington, Pennsylvania with their 11-2 record to take on the undefeated Westminster Titans for the national championship. The Titans were ranked as the #1 team in the NAIA Division II and were looking for their 4th national crown. But who would have guessed that the entire football season would have come down to just one play? Those who were in attendance that day will never forget the 33-yard touchdown pass from Joe McKeah to Dave Foley right here on this very field. Actually, the football season began back in mid-August when 90-some young men ended their summers early to come back to Mother Fair for what was going to be a grueling football season pre-camp. See, the summer of 1988 was one of the hottest on record, and the temperatures were still high when camp began. Even the first month of the regular season presented us with warm weather, which is not quite the best of times to be suited up in a football uniform and running laps. But you see, this team was special. This team knew that a championship season was possible, so they endured the elements. Then the playoffs came, and the cold weather came with it. And by the time Championship Saturday rolled around, the snow rolled into New Wilmington, which truly marked a season that went from fire to ice. This video relives those hot, humid days of September to that snowy day in December when heroes were made. Let's look back at that championship season that ended right here. The football season opened for the number 6th ranked Westminster Titans on September 10th against the Franklin Grizzlies. The Titan defense, which had lost 3 of 4 linebackers and 2 of 3 secondary personnel, was young and inexperienced. But the young defense matured tremendously against the Grizzlies' aerial circus, and behind the leadership of senior linebacker Kevin Myers, they stifled any sort of passing threat. On the afternoon, they gave up a total of 273 yards, and only 61 of those yards came in the second half. defense did a great job in allowing the offense to spend the afternoon on the field in order to control the ball. Head coach Joe Fusco turned to quarterback Joe McKeah to lead his offense, and Joe showed everyone that his throwing ability at the end of the '87 season wasn't just a fluke. McKeah completed 7 of 12 passes for 105 yards and 1 touchdown. McKeah also demonstrated his running efficiency with this big gainer. An injury to McKeah in the second quarter brought in backup quarterback Dean Santorio, who turned to senior Mike Ames, who had a chance to show off his talents both as a running back and as a receiver. But the real star of the day was sophomore running back Brad Tokar, who accumulated 170 yards on 27 carries, including 2 touchdowns. The offense rolled to 486 total yards on the afternoon in beating Franklin, Indiana, 43-14. Week number 2, and another home game for the Titans, this one against the Findlay Oilers. Findlay tried their passing game, but Andre Borowitz had Dave Corley's number not once, but twice as the junior from Mercer made this dream hit. The 2 sophomores in the defensive backfield also did their best, as Jeff Katanzweit showed good pursuit against Findlay's wishbone offense. And Lou Berry stepped in front of this Steinecker pass to knock it incomplete. The Titan defense also forced 2 turnovers on the afternoon. Good pressure by the front line caused this fumble. And Kevin Myers intercepted the first pass of the season and almost took it in for 6. Although he was stopped short of the end zone, it did set up the touchdown that put the Titans into the lead for the first time and for good. The special teams also played a great part in giving the offense good field position. Here, Mark Aiken returned this punt into Findlay territory. Offensively, the Titans faced a very physical Oiler defense, but managed to add up 339 total yards, led by quarterbacks Joe McKeah and Dean Santorio. Senior fullback Joe DiGertola continued to be the workhorse in the Titan backfield as he gained 70 yards on 12 carries, including 1 touchdown. Brad Tokar led the running attack with 122 yards on 22 carries, and 2 touchdowns. It was the second week in a row Brad rushed for over 100 yards. Joe McKeah had another fine afternoon as he completed 8 of 15 passes for 85 yards. He hit freshman Chris Osborne 3 times, but his main target was senior tight end Jeff Hahn, who hauled in 6 passes for 58 yards. The Titans went to 2-0 with a 23-17 win. Week number 3 took the Titans on the road to the State University of New York at Buffalo. The Bulls took the opening possession but were forced to punt, and sophomore Lou Berry with his quick speed got in on punter Dana Laux and blocked his kick. That set up the first Titans score when Brad Tokar took it in from 3 yards out, and Westminster led early on 7-0. Lou Berry once again came up as a star when he found this loose ball on the carpet and pounced on it for his second big play of the game. Brad Tokar rushed for over 100 yards once again, including this nice run in the first half. Junior linebacker Bob Bishop helped the defensive surge by getting to Dave Rath in the backfield for no gain. Once again, quarterback Joe McKeah's main target was his tight end, and Jeff Hahn pulled in 3 passes for 34 yards. Continued strong pursuit by the Titan defense in the first half only allowed the Bulls running back 78 yards. Kevin Myers made this hit to force a fumble that Todd Fedor fell on. Senior fullback Joe DiGertola rushed for 112 yards on 19 carries, and this 18-yard run in the second quarter set up the game-winning touchdown, which was this 7-yard pass from McKeah to Dave Foley with only 1 minute and 4 seconds left before the half. Dansu's extra point gave the Titans a 14-6 lead. In the second half, Dave Blazer got credit for this nice sack. The special teams did not allow much on punt returns. Tokar continued his fine running. DiGertola ate up offensive yards through the middle. And even the Boomerooski was pulled out of Coach Bill Dandu's playbook, but it wasn't enough as the Titans won 14-12 and moved to 3-0 and ranked second in the NAIA Division II. The Titans were on the road once again, this time to Michigan and Adrian College. Brad Tokar rushed for over 100 yards for the 4th consecutive week. Today he had 117 yards on 23 carries, including this touchdown run. The blocking of the front line and Joe DiGertola set up that touchdown as well as this run. Quarterback Joe McKeah really got clicking in the passing department. Joe completed 50% of his passes for 146 yards and 3 touchdowns. His main receiver was sophomore Dave Foley, who caught 3 passes for 62 yards and 1 touchdown. Jeff Hahn got his share of passes on this nice reception. Sophomore Mike Benke hauled in his first career touchdown pass. And Dave Foley changed his direction to make this tough reception. Defensively, the Blazer brothers clogged up the middle. Andre Borowitz and Kevin Myers stopped motion to the outside. And Pat Shannon took care of things in the Bulldog backfield. The Bulldogs were scoring an average of 29 points per game, but today the stingy Titan defense only gave up 3, and it was due to the hard hits that forced these 2 fumbles. The Titans won big, 36-3. The offense was on the right track, the defense passed a tough test against Adrian's passing attack, and the Titans were 4-0. Next, it was arch-rival Geneva College. This game marked the 3rd consecutive away game for the traveling Titans. The Titans were defeated by the Tornadoes in last year's playoffs, so they were looking to get even. This day truly gave meaning to the phrase, "off to the races," as Brad Tokar rushed for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense recorded their first shutout of the season due to the fact that 5 Geneva passes were intercepted and 2 of 3 fumbles were recovered. Geneva just couldn't get their offense going. McKeah was effective in the air as he passed for 80 yards and 1 touchdown. Then the Titans' second team came in, and it was a time for the younger players to shine, and so they did. Dean Santorio turned an intended pass into this 22-yard touchdown run. Freshman Matt Crooney carried the ball just 4 times, but ran up 143 yards, including this touchdown run covering 73 yards. Defensively, sophomore Paul D'Antonio came up with this big sack. freshman Jeff Bellman leaped in front of this pass for an interception. And sophomore Corey Kipp added pressure on this big play. The Titans defeated Geneva 39-0 and remained number 2 in the country. Week 6 in yet another road game, this time to West Virginia. And what a game this one was. It was a seesaw battle the entire game. Here, Jeff Catanzarite came up with a crucial interception. Wesleyan led 7-0 when McKee hit tight end Jeff Hahn for this 33-yard touchdown pass. The extra point failed and the Bobcats led 7-6. The defense knew that they would have to play a tough game, and sophomore linebacker Mike Ruby stepped up for this nice hit. The Titans trailed 21-6 when Brad Tokar got the call for this 12-yard run. A 2-point conversion failed and Westminster trailed 21-12. Quarterback Joe McKee had his best afternoon all season as he completed 21 of his 37 passes for 362 yards and 5 touchdowns. Just before the half, McKee hit wideout Dave Foley for this 50-yard touchdown pass to cut the Wesleyan lead to 10, 28-18. The extra point to Hahn was good, and the Titans went into the half trailing 28-20. The Titans came right out of the locker room with this 56-yard pass once again to Foley to cut the lead to 2. Mike Ames caught the extra point pass to tie things up at 28. Foley hauled in 7 McKee passes covering 218 yards for 3 touchdowns. Wesleyan struck right back, and so the Titans picked it up a notch. Here, Foley dove for this one across the middle. Andre Borowitz made this one-handed interception. And Foley brought in this over-the-shoulder touchdown catch to tie it up at 35. The special teams put pressure on punter Dean Marsden, and with a tremendous rush, he was sacked on the 8-yard line. That set up this 2-yard run by Tokar. Brad went over the 100-yard mark for the 6th consecutive time as he rushed for 128 yards. That put Westminster up 42-35. Wesleyan came right back to tie it at 42. Then McKee hit freshman Chris Osborne for the winning touchdown. Bob Bishop returned this interception 33 yards to make the final score 56-42. The Westminster defense, which was shredded for 421 passing yards, stiffened in the second half and allowed the Bobcats only 117 total yards. Westminster was now 6-0 and ranked number 1. Week 7 and homecoming 1988. And what a homecoming it truly was. After 4 consecutive weeks on the road, the Titans came back to Memorial Field to show the home fans why they were undefeated. Brad Tokar had rushed for 858 yards on the season and needed only 142 more yards to go over the 1,000-yard plateau. On this homecoming day, fans and alumni were on hand to witness a piece of Westminster history as Brad ran for 166 yards to become the first Titan in 17 seasons to surpass that mark. Also showed his ability on the receiving end as he hauled in this McKee pass for a 20-yard gain. quarterback Joe McKeah had a good passing afternoon. He completed 7 of his 13 passes for 2 touchdowns. Senior fullback Joe DiGertola rushed for 73 yards on 4 carries, but he got almost all of those yards on this run, the longest of his career. The offense rushed for 312 yards, and everyone got a piece of the action. Joe McKeah's main target was freshman wide receiver Chris Osborne, who caught 2 passes, both for touchdowns, for a total of 50 yards. Freshman place kicker Rob Dansu showed his talents by hitting this 37-yard field goal. Defensively, the Titans recorded their second shutout of the season as they were all over Waynesburg's quarterback. Andre Borowitz led the Titan defense with 5 tackles, 3 assists, this broken pass, and 1 interception. On the afternoon, the Titan defense intercepted 3 Waynesburg passes. Here, freshman Michael Stevens got his share. The Titans defeated the Yellow Jackets 30-0 to remain undefeated and number 1. Week number 8, and the Tiffin Dragons. Tiffin's record was 1-6, but the Titans weren't going to take them lightly. Tiffin's quarterback Dwayne Tyree had thrown 18 interceptions in the first 7 games, and the Titans got their share for the afternoon. Jeff Katangerite got this one tipped from sophomore Todd Fedor. And Pat Shannon stepped in front of one Dragon receiver for this one. Tyree completed only 6 of his 20 passes for 67 yards, and he threw 3 interceptions. Sophomore Lou Berry batted this one incomplete. And Kurt Thomas was relentless in his pursuit on the Dragon quarterback. The defense only allowed 149 total yards on the afternoon. Here, good pressure by the line caused the quarterback to scramble, and freshman Pete Cashabera got his 2nd career interception. Basically, nothing could go right for Tiffin. A miscue on this punt results in a turnover as Rob Labar recovered. And as you can see, this punt was a fiasco. Todd Fedor waited for the bounce, then almost ran it in for a touchdown. Offensively, Joe McKeah completed 50% of his passes for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also added a touchdown on this run. Joe's target once again was Chris Osborne, who only caught 2 passes, but they were both for touchdowns, covering a total of 83 yards. The Titans were now able to go to their bench to provide experience for their younger players. Here, freshman Brian Creasy rushed for a touchdown, and freshman Chris Madeline carried twice for 53 yards and 1 touchdown. The Titans moved on to 8-0 with the 40-0 win and would now travel back to Buffalo. Week number 9, and the Titans survived a scare in Buffalo. The Buff State Bengals led at the half 7-0, but in the second half, the Titans turned their game up a notch, and ironically, when the weather got bad, the Titans got good. The key play that sparked the team was Dan Short's blocked punt. The Titan offense then got in gear late in the third quarter as Joe McKeah hit Brad Tokar for this 5-yard touchdown. McKeah then kept going for a touchdown, and the Titans led for the first time in the game. And then in the fourth quarter, Brad Tokar found a bit of daylight for this touchdown. The Titans escaped with a 21-7 victory and left Buffalo still ranked number 1 and 9-0. The last week of the regular season, and the Titans hosted Ashland College. With a victory, the Titans would officially assure themselves a berth in the Division II playoffs. The Titans' top-rated defense allowed 280 total yards, but were able to intercept 3 Eagle passes and continually applied pressure on quarterback Chris Brake. The Titan punting unit, led by junior punter Mark Aiken, consistently kept Ashland in poor field position. The unit's efforts included this clutch 78-yard quick kick by Aiken, who launched the ball from his own end zone. Brad Tokar continued to be the master on the ground. On the afternoon, he rushed for 125 yards on 27 carries. Brad was also the Titans' leading receiver this day. He pulled in 2 of Joe McKeah's 18 passes, including this touchdown. McKeah completed 8 passes against Ashland for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Chris Osborne beat his defender for his only catch of the day with this 28-yard touchdown reception. The Titans were shut out in the second half, but were able to save the victory to win 14-10. The Titans finished the regular season undefeated, as only 8 other teams in Westminster history have been able to do. The first-round playoff game between Westminster and Austin College of Texas. Austin, with their 9-1 record, featured All-American receiver Otis Amy. In the first quarter, quarterback Dean Gilbert was sacked by Dave Blazer on the Kangaroos' second possession. Late in quarter number 1, the Titans mounted their first serious drive of the game. McKeah hit Osborne for this 11-yard gain, which put the Titans in close. Then Brad Tokar took over. He gained 15 of his 161 yards on this draw play. Which later set up this 5-yard touchdown run. Westminster led 7-0. Andre Borowitz was all over Otis Amy all afternoon. The junior cornerback only allowed Amy 3 receptions for 32 yards. For his efforts in stopping the All-American receiver, Andre was honored as the most valuable defensive player. McKeah completed 7 of his 19 passes for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, including this screen pass to Joe DiGratola. Austin had kicked a field goal to make the score 7-3 and were looking to go ahead. But Bob Bishop teamed up with Andre Borowitz to stop their momentum on this play. From this point on, the Titan defense applied pressure to Austin. And Gilbert had this one deflected by Jeff Gatanzarite. Todd Fedor came up with the tip and the interception. That set up the Titans' next score later in the second quarter. McKeah went to the air to Chris Osborne for this 41-yard gain. Then 2 plays later, Joe rolled to his left and found Mike Ames open for this 3-yard touchdown reception. Westminster led 14-3 at the half. In the third quarter, the Titans kicked to Austin, but the Kangaroos were unsuccessful in moving the ball downfield. Dave Blazer blindsided Gilbert to force this fumble and loss of yardage. Austin then punted to Mark Aiken at midfield. Brad Tokar took the reins again for this 48-yard romp and touchdown. Brad was awarded the most valuable offensive player for his 100-yard plus effort. Westminster upped its lead to 21-3. In the fourth quarter, the Kangaroos, trailing 21-6, desperately needed points, so they were forced to pass, and the Titan defense met the challenge. The offense then added to the lead when McKeah hit Osborne for this 8-yard touchdown with 8.5 minutes to play in the game. Dansu's kick was blocked, and the Titans led 27-6. Once again, Gilbert was forced to pass, and he had another one intercepted by Todd Fedor, which set up Brad Tokar's third rushing touchdown. Dansu's kick found its way through the uprights once again, and the final score was 34-12. The Titans advanced to the quarterfinal round unscathed, and their opponent would be the Bluffton Beavers. Bluffton fumbled the opening kickoff, and the Titans struck quickly. Joe DiGertola hammered into the end zone, and Westminster led 7-0. Bluffton's quarterback Cliff Hemmert had completed 59% of his passes this season, but today the Titan defense only allowed him to complete 10 of 24 attempts for 101 yards. Still in the first quarter, Brad Tokar exploded up the middle and spun away from two tacklers for this 54-yard touchdown. Brad once again rushed for over 100 yards, 152 to be exact, including 2 touchdowns, and he was the game's offensive most valuable player. The Titans led 14-0. The Beavers, trailing by 2 touchdowns, turned to Roger Galaney to find some open field, but Kevin Myers stopped his momentum quickly. Then Hemmert went to the air, but Andre Borowitz deflected this pass. Hemmert saw Andy Nowlin open across the middle, but Jeff Catanzarite was able to recover and knock it away. On the Titans' third possession in the first quarter, Joe DiGertola rolled through a big hole for this gain of 15. The Titans got inside the Bluffton 10, but turned the ball over to the Beavers. That's when Greg Gilcrease tried to bring his team out of their end zone, and as he reversed his field, he lost the ball, and Andre Borowitz was there to recover. One play later, Brad Tokar dove over center, and Westminster led 21-0. Bluffton was hurting. The passing game would have to be strong as they trailed by 21, but Andre Borowitz was there again to knock the pass away. And then when Hemmert was able to complete a pass for a big gain, disaster struck, and once again it was Andre Borowitz on the scene to recover the fumble. Because of his outstanding defensive performance, Andre was voted as the most valuable player on defense. Moving on to the second quarter, Hemmert again looking to throw got crunched by Dave Blazer and Dan Shorts for a loss of 10 yards. Joe DiGertola picked up 14 of his 82 yards on this run. Joe McKeah completed 5 of 13 passes for 71 yards and 3 touchdowns, including this to Dave Foley just before the half. Westminster led 27-7. The Titans were just too much for Bluffton this afternoon, and it was now showtime. McKeah hit a diving Osborne in the end zone for this touchdown, which put Westminster up 33-7. Tokar took off on this 26-yard run in the third quarter. That run later set the Titans up in good field position for this McKeah pass to a wide-open Dave Foley. And it was now Westminster 40, Bluffton 7. Bluffton had one shot of scoring in the fourth quarter, but Lou Berry was there to intercept this pass at the 1-yard line, and the Titans rolled to a 40-7 win. Onward now to Springfield, Missouri for the semifinal round against Evangel College. It was the battle between the Undefeated. The Titan defense met a top-rated offense in the Crusaders led by quarterback Don Decker. The defense led by Kevin Myers did a great job in applying pressure and getting the sack. The running just wasn't there for the Crusaders as they gained only 78 yards on the ground. So Decker and company went to the air, and Lou Berry met the challenge by deflecting this pass. The second quarter began with a scoreless tie, and the Titans turned to senior tight end Jeff Hahn, who caught 4 passes for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hahn also hauled in the offensive most valuable player honor. Todd Fedor came up with a big hit on this screenplay that never had a chance to set up for Evangel. Then Fedor intercepted this bobbled pass. That set up this 34-yard touchdown pass from McKeah to Hahn. Westminster led 7-0. Evangel looked to score before the half, but Dan Short sacked Decker for a loss. And then in desperation, Decker scrambled here, only to fumble with 12 seconds left in the second quarter. Evangel threatened to score early in the third quarter until Lou Berry intercepted this pass in the end zone. The Titans took advantage of that turnover, and thanks to Brad Tokar's 22-yard run, the Titans were in good scoring position. Brad rushed for 114 yards. McKeah, who was 8 of 18 for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns, threw this 11-yard pass to Hahn for his second touchdown. Westminster led 13-0. McKeah also hit Foley across the middle for this 31-yard gain. Attempting to climb back in the ball game, Evangel abandoned the run and passed deep in their own territory. This interception by Bob Bishop set up another Westminster touchdown to put the Titans up 20-7. Decker again went to the air, but the strong Titan pass rush, led by Dan Shorts, got to him on 2 consecutive plays. This pressure gave the offense good field position, which set up this touchdown run by Joe DiGrotolo. Westminster now led 26-7. Decker, again forced to throw, was sacked by Kevin Myers, who was awarded the defense most valuable player of the game. From this point on, the Titan defense dominated the ball game. The Titans defeated Evangel College 26-9 and moved on to the championship game.
Once again this year, the Titans are towering above everyone.
And because of that, the football team and the college received a lot of attention from area television stations. Before too long, just about everyone in Youngstown and Pittsburgh knew that the Titans were number 1. One news story that gathered the most attention was a piece that was broadcast nationwide on the cable news network. CNN came to Westminster during championship week to tell the country about Westminster College.
Despite the outward appearance, pro football in Pittsburgh has lost much of its brilliance in recent times. The results aren't so sunny anymore, but it's still famous throughout the sports world for celebrating more Super Bowl championships than any other city.
Although it looks like another country,
Just 75 miles north of the Steel City in the splendid serenity of New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, you'll find one of the best-kept secrets in college football, the Westminster Titans, a perennial power flourishing in a Spartan existence.
Some call it the middle of nowhere. Some call it Happy Valley. Some call it the New Jerusalem.
Still, most who pass through this sleepy hamlet of less than 3,000 do so to observe a people committed to preserving the past, not players pursuing a dream. The Amish, strictest of the Mennonite religious sect, are almost totally self-sufficient. Shunning all modern conventions, they've certainly never witnessed a football game, and though they confess to hearing on-campus roars up to 2 miles away,
they don't put people in the stands, do they?
No, they don't put people in the stands, but they do bring people to the community, and then we'll put those people in the stands.
Among NAIA Division II programs, this is pigskin heaven. Since Division II was formed 19 years ago, the Titans have been the closest thing to a dynasty, winning a record 3 national titles, appearing in the playoffs 9 times, 5 of those in the 80s, and in the past 25 years enduring only 1 losing season. Most of the reason lies in the fact that since 1952, there have been only 2 coaches. The man who guided them to their first national championship in 1970 says there's no magic formula, it's merely a coach's responsibility.
I learned a long time ago it's kind of easy to lose. Anybody can lose. It just takes a special type of discipline and application to be a consistent winner. And I think you're more than unfair to young men if you don't teach them to win, if it's possible at all.
There are no football scholarships around here. The total budget is only $35,000, and it's quickly apparent from the sights and sounds this is not major college football.
One time, for example, this season, a player's girlfriend accidentally knocked his car keys down the toilet. So I announced 3 times during the game that if anyone found his car keys, to please turn them into the press box. And he kept turning around and shaking his fist at me and laughing.
But make no mistake, this is serious business.
The kind of pressure we have here is healthy pressure, and that's the kind of pressure when every time you feel like taking a rest, you go out and look at the trophy case, and then you figure you better get busy because other people were able to do it, and you better do it.
Our Titan team has brought everyone into one unified group, and we're really excited about it.
And we think success is pretty much expected. We expect to win, we expect to do well here.
The expectations begin off the field.
When you take the fact that the average of the football team, academic average, is higher than that of the rest of the campus, the male portion of the campus, I think it says something about both the quality of the coaching and the quality of our scholar athletes.
Like I said, we're going to play for the national championship and then study for finals the next day. That's how it's going to be here.
Even as the Titans were preparing for their clash on the gridiron, the Amish kept busy on their own turf, preparing for another season.
It may be too romantic a notion to think that you're learning from the people in the community, but some of it has to rub off when you see these people day in and day out. Oh, definitely. We see them, working hard, and no one can ever complain, after seeing them, and makes us come out here and work just a little bit harder.
But this is much more than just a championship. For everybody on this field, it's a rite of passage into the real world.
Well, I think at this level, I'm probably finished after this. I can see no way for me to make the pros with my size. So this is my Super Bowl.
And though they won't be watching, news of a Titan victory will surely make the locals smile. In New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, Tom Kirkland for NCAA Preview.
It was now time for the national championship game between the Westminster Titans and Wisconsin Lacrosse at Memorial Field. The snow made things tough for both teams, but it wasn't enough to keep a flu-ridden Joe McKeah from completing 50% of his passes for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns, and also receiving the game's most valuable offensive player. Brad Tokar carried 21 times and gained 73 tough yards on the ice. McKeah hit everyone this afternoon. This big gain to Jeff Hahn in the first quarter kept the Titan drive alive, but they weren't able to score. Meanwhile, the Titan defense pressured quarterback Joe Reen to force his passes, which allowed the defensive backs to cover the receivers downfield. The Titan defense also forced their share of fumbles on a day when the pigskin was wet, cold, and hard. In the the second quarter, with the Titans trailing 7-0, Makia found Tokar for a quick gain. Makia also hit Chris Osborne for this reception that Chris bobbled but was able to hang on to. Joe also found Mike Ames open on the sideline for this small gain, but the Indian defense held and the Titans had the punt. With precious time remaining before halftime, the Titan defense shut down Ted Bertaski and the Indians to give Joe Makia and his offense time to operate before the half. The Titans got things going. Tokar went to the right for some valuable yardage. And Makia found Brad open for this completed pass. Still seconds ticking off the clock with the Titans trailing by 7 before the half. Then Makia took the snap and found Jeff Hahn streaking across the middle for this big gain. The Titans were now in lacrosse territory. Makia sprinted to his right, and this time his target was wide-out Chris Osborne for a crucial first down. Then on a 3rd down and 10 with only 16 seconds left on the clock, Makia dropped back one more time and found Dave Foley in the end zone. Freshman Rob Dansu came on to kick the point after, and both teams went into the locker room tied at 7. In the 3rd quarter, the Titan defense got tough on Lacrosse's running game. Dan Shorts made this hit to drop Bertaski for a loss. And Todd Fedor hit Reen in the backfield, forcing this fumble that Dave Blazer pounced on. But the offense wasn't able to score despite good solid running by Brad Tokar. The Titans continued to play solid defense as shown by these two outstanding plays by Lou Berry. Jeff Catanzarite halted one drive with this interception, but Lacrosse led going into the 4th quarter 14-7. That set up a fantastic finish for the Titan football team. With the 4th quarter almost half over, Makia put out a rope to Chris Osborne, who hauled it inside Lacrosse territory. And Makia had another shot to Osborne, who was cutting across the middle, and Chris did his best to get close to the goal line. Those plays set up this 21-yard pass to a wide-open Dave Foley to cut the Lacrosse lead to 1. Dansu's kick was good, and the ball game was tied at 14. There was now less than 3 minutes to play in the game. The Titan defense played with the most intensity they could to get Bertaski in the backfield and to pressure Reen to throw this pass incomplete on 2nd down. And pressure by Kevin Blazer forced this 3rd down incompletion. Lacrosse was forced to punt. With 2:38 to go and the ball 85 yards away from the Lacrosse end zone, Joe Makia led the Titans on their historic drive. First, Makia hit a diving Jeff Hahn across the middle to keep the drive alive on a 3rd down play and 2:23 left in the game. With a minute and a half left on the clock, it was 3rd and 10 when Makia, with perfect pass protection, hit Mike Ames for this clutch first down. The clock was down to a minute, and it was 2nd down following a completion to Jeff Hahn. when Joe DiGratola got the call to go up the middle to assure a first down and to stop the clock. Continuing to use the no-huddle offense, Makia threw this pass to Ames across the middle for another first down at the La Crosse 33-yard line. After 3 unsuccessful passes, the stage was now set for the play that concluded what has been called that magical season.
13 seconds remaining in the contest. Score is all tied up, 14-14. It is 4th down and 10 for the Westminster Titans at the 33-yard line. Osborne lines up to the right, Foley to the left. DiGratola and Mike Ames in the T formation. Joe Makia, the quarterback. Jeff Hahn lines up on the left side. This is it. Makia, straight drop, going into the end zone for Foley. It's up. Touchdown, Westminster! The Titans have won it! 7 seconds remaining. The Westminster Titans are the national champions.
The final score was 21-14, and the Westminster Titans had captured their 4th national championship in dramatic fashion, ending the season that went from fire to ice.